McConnell recently said to the Republican caucus on passing the big ugly bill, he said, look, guys, just pass the damn thing. I'm paraphrasing.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. I'm a bit late today. It turns out, man, I just got through doing the last video, but we got it in. Welcome aboard. Ann Shettles, Deborah J, Kathleen Bielowski, Deb, Adam W on the Substack. And of course, I missed the first few dozens on Substack, but that's okay. And in the house, we have Lee the Bearcat. From Austin, Texas. We have Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York. We've got Pullen Mingsger. Don't know where you're from. We have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. She's listening from Minneapolis today. I hope you're enjoying that beautiful town. I love Minneapolis. Welcome aboard. The Angry Corner says roar. That I think I know who the Angry Corner is. So you change your handle. Joe from Los Angeles, California, and we have Jacqueline Campisi, our resident teacher in the house. How is everybody doing? I'm glad to see you here, including Adam W. says, hi, Egberto. Adam from Pennsylvania is here. Suzanne Gugich, Ellen Kochowski. Thank you for being here, folks. We have a great program for you today. Of course, the Supreme Court did something today, something that is very dangerous today. And a lot of people don't quite... they're looking at it from the angle of right citizenship rights, etc. Right to citizenship, but it's deeper than that. What the Supreme Court did today was asserted that it was just an arm of the executive. That's what it asserted today, because in effect it gave the executive the opportunity to be unlawful up and until they decide to take a case. No longer can district courts, etc., throw up an injunction at will when things are bad. But that's sort of beside the point right now. Right now, I think it is essential for us to realize that we are in this on our own. Institutions have officially failed. Congress, the Republican Congress, has ceded its power to Donald Trump. The Supreme Court, which a lot of folks left their hopes on, have ceded their power to the Supreme Court. Now, the district courts and the circuit courts, they're all fine. But ultimately, those 9 people up top are the ones in control. As I have mentioned over and over and over again, we always talk about the three legs of the stool. We always talk about equal. What is it we call it? The equal forms, co-equal arms of government. And I've always stated, I've written about it in several of my books. They are not co-equal at all. And the GOP is making sure that it's not co-equal. And I think it is high time for us to recognize that we are in this alone. And who is we? We the people. The good thing about we the people is that it is a task that we can handle. As I'm speaking right now, I am trying to find that piece that I wrote, or actually the video that I did, where I pointed out that the Supreme Court, uh, and this is where we are actually here now. This is where I feared we were going to go. This is where I feared we were going. And I want to find that piece that I did, because I think this is the time that people have to remember about this. I am looking for it as we speak, but I want to find it. This is where how do you say that? This is where it hits, the rubber meets the metal. Let me see. Supreme Court, Republican. Let's see. What else can I put in that search? Uh, Government. Let's see. Let's see if that narrows it a bit. I really want to play this piece for y'all, because I think what occurred today showed that we are in this on our own. I mean, and this is not to put a little what is the word that I want to use. This is not to get us feeling like, oh, we can't win, because we can win. But what is important now is that we execute. Gosh, I want to find that. I want to find that. Uh, let's see. Legislation. Assert. Let's see. Assert. Let's see. Come on, Egberto. I want to bear with me, guys. Help me out here. I want to find this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I tell you what I'm going to do. I did a piece this morning that I cleaned up that I'm going to play. And as I play this piece, I am going to look for it, because I want us to hear this. But here we go from this morning, and then we'll take it on the other side. McConnell recently said to the Republican caucus on passing the big ugly bill, he said, look, guys, just pass the damn thing. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Just pass the damn thing. They'll get over it. The people who are being hurt, which are many, which are most, they will get over it. And, he has a point. So far as a country, we have gotten over the bad things that the politicians have been doing to us since 1980, since supply side economics went in full force. Again, remember, we have gone in cycles from the robber barons till the correction done by Roosevelt to coming back to the Reagan reinstituting supply side economics, which has made every American but the top poorer. Semblance of richness, but poorer. Or a semblance of richness because credit changed. Now, I want to remind you of how this stuff works, and politicians know it well. I want to start with Israel. We have Israel using 1,200 horrific killings, Hamas, on their people. They use that to decimate Gaza. So 1,200 of our Jewish brothers and sisters got killed in Israel. And for that, now counted over 100,000 Palestinians dead, but counts have it as high as over 300,000 if you count the people that are still under the rubble that is throughout Gaza, because he decimated Gaza. But still, when you watch TV or when you listen to these folks, they just tell you they did what they had to do. Think about it. Who is the aggressor? 300,000 versus 1,200. Body counts count. Iraq, we lost about 4,200, between 4,200 and 5,000 Americans got killed in Iraq. But over 500,000 Iraqis got killed. Who's the aggressor? Panama, we wanted to get Manuel Antonio Noriega, one person. Anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 Panamanians dead. Who is the aggressor? We were told that supply side economics, the Reaganomics, voodoo economics, would bring prosperity to all. Most of the wealth went to the top 0.1%, the top 10%, and everybody continues to get poorer under these types of policies. Yet we are scared to hear the word social democracy. But we understand that the current economic system has been decimating your pocketbooks. Your healthcare continues to go up, yet you're told that Medicare for all will harm you, when Medicare for all, just by the numbers, when calculated, proves that that is a better system. The rest of the world, the rest of the OECD, the rest of the industrialized world is doing it differently from us, have better healthcare outcomes, not only have better healthcare outcomes, but healthcare can't decimate you. But we continue to fear that, as opposed to electing people who said, yes, that's what we're going to do. We have rents all over America taking up a bigger and bigger part of our incomes. And we can feel it. We can see it. Yet we continue to elect people that says, no, we don't want rent control. No, we don't want policies that stop folks from doing these things. Let's remember why rents go up, why all these things go up. Well, because of an economic system that says growth, growth, growth for the people who own those stocks in those resources that you use, whether it's be healthcare, the stocks in the hospitals, the stocks in the real estate, the stocks in the defense industrial complex companies that need to build bombs to supply the killing that Israel and armies around the world are doing. They have to grow. They have to grow. They have to grow. So defense companies grow by creating bombs and killing. Healthcare companies grow by charging you more, by telling you you have an illness that needs them instead of maybe drinking water. Rent goes up because the people who owns REITs, real estate stocks, they need to make more money, and that money has to come from the people who least can say no. You. When Mandami won the race, people wanted to understand, how can somebody, we have taught Americans to fear that word, democratic socialist, hell, socialist. We've taught Americans that is something that you see in Venezuela. Do you want to be like Venezuela? Do you want to be like Cuba? Do you want to be like North Korea? Do you want to be like those countries? That's what they teach you. That's what it looks like. But wouldn't you like to be like Denmark, the happiest country in the world, or Sweden, or one of those countries where, people have a very high happy index? It's in our hands, but we have allowed ourselves to stop critically thinking, believing what we're told. Yesterday morning, we're watching TV. And the big scare right now is out. And it comes out just in time for this big dirty bill. Social Security will not be able to pay its outlays in 10 years. That's the new numbers. Because of the amount of people working and paying into Social Security, and the amount of people, the baby boomer generation, that's retiring at 60,000 people every day. I think it's 60,000. I don't remember. Some amount of thousands of people every day. So eventually, there are going to be more people taking out more money than people putting in money, the volume of money. So it won't be able to fulfill its mission at full cost. So this expert comes on TV, this Social Security expert comes on TV, and they got my wife's attention. Hey, Social Security is going to be bankrupt in 10 years. And the options that she gave were three. One, we could take the 22% or 25% or 28% cut in the amount we get from Social Security, right? Because that's how short it's going to be. Or we could actually increase the Social Security taxes. Right now, you pay, if you're an employee, you pay 6.2%. Your employer pays another 6.2%. That's how much, Social Security is not free. We're all paying for it. So when they talk about entitlements, it's not free. We pay for it. But that's how we save it, right? Increasing it to 6.2% on everybody, right? And the third option is to just go ahead and have people work longer. So you can no longer retire at 62. You can no longer retire at 65. You can no longer retire at 67. You now have to work into your old age. And more than likely what that means is you die before you're able to collect anything from Social Security. What a saving. We save by just making you die. Those are the three options the expert gave on TV. And my wife looked and said, hey, wow, those are, tough options. And my daughter said, well, Ma, we have already, my generation have already know that we're not getting Social Security. And I looked at both of them and I said, stop it. Stop it. I am not doing this to work, this type of activist work here for folks to go ahead and say, we just have to take it. Social Security is going bankrupt or whatever. I said, you listen to what that woman said, the expert that everybody wants to listen to, right? She's the expert. No, she is the plutocracy's stooge, because the most important option that is there to save Social Security wasn't mentioned. And the reason it wasn't mentioned, it's because it is where the money really lies. And that is with the wealthy. We could actually reduce Social Security. We don't have to keep Social Security at 6.2%. The reason it's at 6.2% is that we stop collecting Social Security taxes up and until $176,000, which means if you make $1 billion a year, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, of your billions of dollars that you make every year, your Social Security tax stops at $176,000. Not even a rounding error for Bill Gates. Not even a rounding error for Tom Cruise. Not even a rounding error, folks. Understand what we're talking about here. They give you the options. They don't allow you to critically think about what the solutions are. They are telling you, I will give you a plate of options you can choose from, but you don't get a chance to define what's on that plate. No, that's not true what I just said. You choose. All of you that are listening to me right now, you chose not to determine the options on that plate, because the other option on that plate that Social Security expert gave you was everybody's income, whether wages or capital gains, whether dividends or not. Every single thing called wages should be taxed. And if that is done, the Social Security taxes for absolutely everybody wouldn't go up, it would go down. Not only because most of the money paid out in this country, most of the income made in this country, most of the wealth in this country is owned by less than 20% of this country. And in fact, the vast majority by the 0.1%. Americans don't understand the extreme wealth that this country has. If you were to see the charts as far as what the wealthy really has, it would blow your minds. They like to say things like, if we tax the rich, then eventually we'll have nothing to tax. There will not be enough money. That is the biggest lie out there. Because what the rich have learned to do, or what not they've learned to do, what they've commanded their politicians they own to do, is to define what income is. So when you go to work and you use your wage, you make a wage, either salaried or you make an hourly wage, one or the other. It's a little bit of money. They call that income. But that's not how the wealthy makes their money. In fact, a lot of CEOs, they take $1 as their income. And then they tell you, I am a nice guy. I only make $1 because I know I have a lot of money. So I only take $1. And they make it seem like it is something benevolent they're doing, which it isn't. It is actually something much less benevolent than one would believe, because they take their monies as stock options, which the income from stock option comes from something called capital gains, which means when that price of that stock go up and they sell it, remember, they did no work. They just sold a stock. The income tax on that stock is less than what you pay as an employee getting income. Both of them are income. They're income. But he pays or she pays less than you do because they define that income as capital gains. Let me tell you another kind of income that they use. Let's say I got $1 billion in stock, and let's say I live on $500 million a year, right? That's what I make. I don't go ahead and sell that stock, because I sell that stock, I'll have to pay income tax on it. Less than you do, but I still have to pay some income tax. I don't want to pay any income tax. I am wealthy. We don't pay taxes. That's for the peons. That's for you guys. That's why Social Security stops taking payments at $176,000. You know why? Because you got to pay for that stuff. We don't, even though the billions that we made was on your back. Because do remember, when you're a secretary, a janitor, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, they are making money on you because they don't do anything. You know, the reason Elon Musk had the ability to run around and with a chainsaw and all of it, because he doesn't work. And the genius that they say he is imagined. It's the media imagining that because he has wealth, he's a genius, as opposed to an economic system that rewards those who do the least. But we continue. We continued. So as far as these guys who have stocks, they don't have to worry about taxes because they go to an insurance company or they go to a bank and they say, hey, I want to borrow every year. I want to borrow let's say $10 million I want to borrow. And the bank says, okay. And they say, I'll put my stock up as collateral to that loan. The bank says, okay. And the bank loans you the money and they charge you a little bit of interest on that money, tiny bit of interest compared to the tax rate. And you said, okay, I'll just borrow that money and spend that money, that borrowed money. And because it is borrowed money I'm spending, it's not income. It is based on my stock. It is based on my wealth. But since I'm spending supposedly the bank's money backed by my stock, I pay zero income taxes on that. And later on, if I decide to pay it back, there's no big deal. I actually get a tax break I also get a tax break for the income taxes. I mean, for the interest that the bank is charging me because I passed it through my LLC. My brothers and sisters, the economic system that we have is a con for the wealthy. But nobody tells you that. You listen to CNBC every day. You listen to CNN every day. You listen to NBC every day. And they tell you entitlements are breaking the budget. They're telling you all these things that are breaking the budget. The one thing that they don't tell you is breaking the budget. Bernie will tell you, Danny will tell you, is the wealthy, the billionaires. If you want to know who is breaking our budget, it's the people who are the biggest loafers. All of you that are listening to me, including many of you who support these guys. Oh yeah, glory, glory, hallelujah for these guys who are screwing you. It is they who are destroying this country. You are not getting entitlements, folks. The people that they teach you to hate, that person on welfare, that person on food stamps, even that person on food stamps is doing more for the economy than that wealthy person in the aggregate on a percentage basis, because the act of them spending that food stamps create economic activity for that wealthy person. But you're not taught that. And like John said earlier, we are just given and taught the things that they want us to know, but we simply don't know how this system operates. And in not knowing that, we make the decisions that we make. When Mitch McConnell says they'll get over it, he's saying, hey, all of you that are listening to me right now, Mitch McConnell told you are so stupid that you are going to get over that he's about, the Republican Party and that new bill is about to take you to the cleaners once again. Once again, it's going to make you poorer. And the article that I selected for this morning that Jack paraphrased earlier has a beautiful chart in there that shows you how much you're being screwed by the 0.1%, by the 1%, and by the 5%. And it's not a pretty thing. So here is my advice to all of those that are listening. First of all, do not accept the things that I say at face value if it makes you uncomfortable. Please go ahead and please do your own research and find out these things that I'm telling you. Because again, like I said, you don't get this stuff. Not even when you go to business school do they cover all the machinations that rich does to keep you down. Because remember, for there to be a master, there's got to be a slave. For there to be an ultra rich in a growing economy where you grow faster than everybody else, you have to have the poor worker bee. That's you. And you have to determine. And by the way, we still live in a democracy. You have to determine if you're going to continue to let ideology if you're going to continue to let prejudice, false prejudice that is, if you're going to allow them to put hate in your heart, to do these things, to rip you off as they do it, that's really on you.
We spend a lot
Yes,
of time.
that's really on you. Yes, that's really on you. Anyway, I found the video that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to go back into talking a little bit about the con in a bit. But what I want to do is I want to show you the video that I was just telling you about. Let me get it set up appropriately, and then I'm going to put it on because the Supreme Court. Well, I'll explain it in the Supreme Court here. I think this is a video. Para ver, para ver, para ver. Here we go. Here we go. Like that, like that.
That piece that I played on the Constitution. When we talk about the merits of the Constitution, what I wanted to do with that argument about the Constitution and what Trump via McConnell is doing with the Supreme Court, with the district courts, with the circuit courts, is to explain something important to you. It's not enough for us to go out there and just say we want to win the presidency or we want to win this Congress seat or anything. We have to change the mold of the country, the psyche of the country, because there's so much that they know that most people don't. Like when McConnell is playing with the Supreme Court and playing with the district court and playing with the circuit court, a lot of people sit back and they don't think it has much impact on them. We are trying to establish a more perfect union. We are trying to establish a system that works for everybody, which means we no longer allow a plutocracy to take it all. But you know what? The American population is wising up, but they're already preparing for a wise population, and they're using the Constitution to prepare for that wise population. How so? Everybody who studied their government classes understand there's a judiciary, a legislative, and a executive. The legislative makes the laws, the executive executes the laws, and the judiciary interprets the law's constitutionality. Well, if we are going to win all these new elections and we are going to win the presidency, the only help the plutocracy could possibly have is the only undemocratic portion of the American system that was designed constitutionally, and that is the judiciary. The judiciary can take any piece of law that the legislative branch passes and the executive branch affirms and say a corporation who now owns all these judges can now say, well, that law is unconstitutional and it then cannot be implemented. We already have gerrymandering that has made the country a country that's not ruled by most. California has probably 40 million people or more, however million they have. And someone of the Dakotas have a few 100,000. And both of them get 2 senators. Wow, that's a lot of power for a little bit of people. And now the Supreme Court is preeminent. The Supreme Court is undeniably the most powerful branch of the government, and a lot of people don't tell you that. They always talk about, oh, we have the checks and balances. There ain't no check against the Supreme Court unless we're going to then implement the difficult thing that's called impeachment. But constitutionally, you can only impeach judges with either 3/5 or 3/4. I don't remember the number, which means you have to have a hell of a supermajority in Congress to do what you have to do. So, folks, the way they intend to destroy the Roman intelligent middle class is to do the constitutionally undemocratic thing, and that is to use the courts.
I want you guys to understand that. And I did this during the Trump's first administration when when McConnell was messing with the Supreme Court, when McConnell was ensuring that Obama didn't get his picks. All of this was done years ago. And I kept on saying, this is where we're heading. This is where we're heading. Well, guess what, folks? We're there. And the Supreme Court pretty much completed that today. Now, and you know, they used an immigration issue to do this. I want you to remember this. They used an immigration issue to do this because they understand that by using an immigration issue, a lot of people are anti-immigrant, even many progressives. If you take a look at what a lot of folks believe of immigration because they've been so lied about it, they're not completely out of step with Donald Trump in wanting to get rid of a lot of immigrants. So what the Supreme Court did today was reconfigure the lower courts in such a manner that the Supreme Court gets even more supreme. The Supreme Court gets even more supreme in the laws that matter, in the judgments that matter. So right now we're talking about, citizenship. Will they be able to revoke my uh, naturalization? Who knows? If they get to change the wording in the Constitution about citizenship, who knows? But that's beside the point because it's not even about that. It's about them testing the rules. Now Donald Trump has the ability to go against any one of our rights. And maybe a district court will stop it here and there, but it will be in effect everywhere else. And since we have lawyers that fear bucking the executive, you may have a problem reaching it. The number is 281 823 7747. 281 823 7747, Adam. One more time, 281 823 7747. So, what I'm trying to say, folks, is we are there. We've been warning that we were going to get here if we didn't work appropriately. We've been talking about this for probably over 12 years. Over 12 years. But we're here now. And we're here because we haven't done our job effectively enough. I haven't done my job effectively enough. Many of us were unable back in 2024 and point the severity of getting Trump back in before we toughened up our systems of government. Okay? We have to, now all we've got are the streets. Now all we've got is putting the fear of the people in the politician. Because right now they only fear the corporatocracy. They only fear the president. Now we'll see what happens when they lose their hospitals and their health care. But Donald Trump may find a way to tell them that they're losing their health care because of those pinko liberals again. And his people are low information enough to probably believe it. And instead of putting their wrath on Donald Trump, they may put their wrath on others. Right? So it is imperative that going forward, now, that we start executing. The protests must go on. Pestering your congressperson, your senator must go on. Calling them, faxing them, emailing them, bird dogging them. Anybody knows what bird dog is? Meaning they have no rest. If they're at a restaurant, they're heckled. They're bird dog at a restaurant. Wherever they go, you have got to be there. Peaceful, but you have got to let everybody know that they're evil. You have got to let everybody know that they're evil. They should they represent you. They work for you. You have got to bird dog them. You have got to email them. You have got to fax them. You have got to telephone them. You have got to be in front of their office like what Neil Aquino is doing every Thursday in front of our Senator John Cornyn's office, and what every Thursday our indivisible group here is doing in front of Dan Crenshaw's office. It has to be done. It has to be done. Because I tell you what, folks, these guys are really doing it. They're doing it. They're using the frog method. They're just inching themselves for that change. And today they took a yard. They didn't take an inch today. They took a yard. It's on you. I want to play the other video and then we'll continue, my brothers and sisters. Let's go ahead and play some Brandon Boyle and then we'll take it on the other side. Donald Trump is trying to hurry up the Senate. Hey guys, get with the program. You have got to pass this bill. I want it by January 4th. The reason he wants it by January 4th, folks, is because as the bill becomes more evident to more people, as people realize that hospitals are going to be closing, as people realize that they're going to lose their health care. I mean, you know what? He wants to hurry and get it through because he's not coming back. He doesn't really care. He just wants to get that money for the rich folks who paid to get him installed into office. Want you to listen to Brendan Boyle about what's happening in Congress right now, what this bill is going to do, and make sure to share it to all your friends and families. This is the week. Next week is the week that you have got to get in their skin. You have to put the fear of losing everything in the skin. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
Today, our next guest, Congressman Brendan Boyle, said this about the Trump Republican budget bill.
Here's the state of play. According to the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the Republican bill, the big, beautiful bill for billionaires, will throw 16 million Americans off their health care. That is a fact. It will also deny nutrition assistance to another 4.5 million Americans. Why? In furtherance of more than $5 trillion worth of tax cuts, almost all of which go to the top 1% of Americans. In fact, this tax cut will end up being an increase for the bottom third of Americans when you look at the bill in its totality. So there is no defense on this side of the aisle for any actual instances of waste and fraud and, frankly, criminality. But the real fraud here is to pretend that 16 million Americans who are going to lose their health care are all just defrauding the system. That doesn't pass the smell test. No rational person recognizes that millions and millions of Americans are going to lose their health care, but they're all somehow fraudsters. What an actually insulting perception one must have of the American people.
Punchbowl News reports during a closed-door meeting yesterday, Senator Mitch McConnell gave a short speech to Republican senators saying in part that failure is not an option, but McConnell also added this, which we're told shocked many senators in the room. I know a lot of us are hearing from people back home about Medicaid, but they'll get over it. In response to that, New York's Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul said Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Senate GOP have the best health care in the world. But if you get sick, they want you to get over it. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania, the top Democrat on the House Budget Committee and a member of the powerful Ways and Means Committee. Representative Boyle, thank you very much for joining us tonight. This net effect of what this bill means, taking in all the governmental interactions that affect the bottom third of income earners and taxpayers is something you've been able to highlight. Tell us what it actually means.
Yeah, great to be back with you, Lawrence. And briefly, the Joint Committee on Taxation, as well as some other independent, nonpartisan outside organizations, have analyzed this bill in all of its components. So not just the changes in tax rates, but also the changes to, 4.5 million people losing SNAP, 16 million Americans losing Medicaid, the $500 billion worth of cuts that are now impacting Medicare, and on and on. And when you add all of that up, what you find is the bottom 1/3 of Americans by income will actually be poorer as a result of this legislation. That, in terms of dollars and cents, is every household that makes under $55,000 a year.
We have several Republicans who've come out and said, hey, these Medicaid cuts, in the words of Josh Hawley, are immoral. We always like to quote Josh Hawley at Democratic press conferences, that they are immoral. Or we have heard that Senator Tillis was distributing pieces of paper showing how much it hurt North Carolinians when it comes to the Medicaid cuts. We also know other senators have raised issues. We have another group that is talking about the impact on the debt. They're right. It's bad.
And in addition to what Senator Klobuchar is describing in the Senate, as you know, there are 16 House Republicans saying they cannot vote for what the Senate version of the bill does with Medicaid. Is it possible that this bill will fail in either the Senate or the House?
It's certainly possible. Remember, it only passed by one vote in the House of Representatives. And I think the way things are looking in the Senate, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a one vote margin as well before finally the bill comes back to us in front of the House for a final up and down vote. I will say, though, when it comes to Republicans standing up to Donald Trump, I'm not going to bet my mortgage on that, because there are a number of House Republicans that are in what's called the known to fold caucus. They will huff on a Monday, puff on a Tuesday, and by the end of the week, they are voting with Donald Trump 100% of the time. So I think that outreach from the American people, given the deep unpopularity of this bill, could make a real difference, specifically for those Republicans who are in battleground seats.
Yeah, and that's the point that Republican Senator Tillis has made to Republicans, saying that they'll lose control of the Senate, they'll lose control of the House if they vote for this thing.
Look, this bill, and again, these aren't my numbers, this is Congressional Budget Office, the official scorekeepers, it will be the biggest loss of health care in American history. I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that if Republicans succeed in passing this bill, they will lose the House of Representatives next November.
And that the 16 who are listed as claiming now that they will not vote for it, they're telling their constituents, 16 of them, we will not vote for the Senate Medicaid provisions. So they either violate their own public pledge to their constituents, or this bill fails when it comes back to the House, if it comes back to the House.
Yeah, although I would just remind us that every single House Republican, except for Tom Massey, has already voted for the biggest Medicaid cuts in American history. They already are going to have to own that vote. So they've been tested once before. They have failed that test. And here is really the opportunity for activism from the American people. We have seen protests upon protests over the last 5 months. It's really been inspiring. But I think over the next couple of weeks, we need to see even more of that to turn up the heat. Again, specifically on those Republicans like Tom Tillis in North Carolina and about a dozen or so Republicans in the House, whose real race won't be the primary as it will be the general election come next November.
So absolutely so, folks. Brendan Boyle is absolutely correcto. He's absolutely right. This is the largest decline in healthcare that we are going to have in ages. This is the instantiation of much of what McCain protected us again when he took the unpopular MAGA position and voted it down. Well, it seems like Donald Trump, with all the machinations, is going to vote it up. And folks, we don't have any other segment of government on your side. The Supreme Court today proved who it is. The Supreme Court proved today that it's on the take. It believes in autocracy. The Supreme Court told you that today. The only thing that's going to move us forward going forward is you, all of us, actually demanding the change. We are going to have to do the heavy lifting. We are the ones that are going to have to put the two parts of government that we control directly in power. That is meaning in 2026, the legislator, which means the House and Senate, have got to be taken. And then in 2028, the presidency, the Supreme Court, after we take those two stances, we have got to mitigate what they did with the Supreme Court, what they've done using dirty tricks. And it's time to get Democrats with spines, because again, if we had Democrats with spine back in 2000 during the Obama administration, etc., we would not be in this pickle that we're in right now, created by a Supreme Court that was bought, created by a lack of a lack of spine in fighting for the American people. Well, you know what, David Hogg, are you listening? Do the job. You're doing a good job. We've got listen to me, McDaniel. We got one. We need to keep it going. We need to keep it going, and we need to take this country back. Yes, we need to take the country back. Yes, we're going to take the country back. All right, the telephone number, I don't have any more videos, 281 823 7747. 7747. I just put that in the chat. The telephone number is, whoops, I missed it in the chat. Ooh, what did I do? I'm going to have to do it all over again. Anyway, the telephone number is 281 823, and it is 7747. Did I get that right? I think I did. I think I did. There you go. I'm putting it in both chats. Anybody want to call in? We have about 8 minutes that we can talk. 713, all right, 281 823 7747. By the way, don't forget to go to kpft.org if you want to see Tom Hartman. Tom Hartman is coming to Houston. You know who Tom Hartman is? One of my heroes. He is coming to Houston on August 9th, and the tickets are $60 to go see him. Go to kpft.org and go ahead and sign up for it, my amigos and amigas. All right, anybody want to give me a call? 281 823 7747. I'd love to hear from you guys. 281 823 7747. Don't be shy. Do you have a question that you don't want to type, that you want to just get your voice on? Don't be shy. 281 823 7747. All right, while I wait to see if anybody calls, the last at hand, let me go ahead and pull that last subject up that we're going to talk about today. Let me get to my Daily Kos site where I have it all listed so that we can actually talk about the Supreme Court, because that at this point in time is where it is at. So the article is, by limiting nationwide injunctions, Supreme Court declares open season on all our rights. The U.S. Supreme Court issued a flurry of decisions Friday morning, including a ruling related to U.S. President Donald Trump's attack on birthright citizenship that led legal experts, elected Democrats, immigrants, and rights advocates to warn. As Move On Civic Action spokesperson Britt Jakovich put it, that the Justice Department just made it easier for Trump to take away your rights. I'm coming to you in a second, Ray. 3 different federal judges had granted nationwide injunctions blocking Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship, with an executive order that Cody Wolfsey, deputy director of the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, described as blatantly illegal and cruel. Rather than considering the constitutionality of the president's order, the justices examined the relief provided by the lower courts. Shame. Hey, how are you doing, my dear brother, Ray?
I'm angry, Egberto. That's why I'm in the angry corner. But it basically, you laid it out on the table, all the reasons why I'm angry. You know, since I've been growing up in my adolescent life, you know, from about the year 2000, you know, we've been under Republican rule. And then it just seems like every year, every administration, you know, we seem that our rights get just a little bit more eroded. And unfortunate, you know, for us, you know, we didn't do our job in 2014 and 2010 and actually give Obama a Congress that was going to push him for a progressive policy. So people moaned and they whined that he didn't do anything for black people, or he didn't do anything for these people. He was the president of America. He was the first African-American president, literally African-American president. He had to tread thin ice and toe the line for the establishment of presidents. And he did a hell of a job, you know, as far as presidents go. You know, he did the job the way it was supposed to be done. And for that, we got, you know, we lost our House majority, we lost our Senate majority, then we got Trump, and then we kind of straightened up a little bit during the pandemic, and spared for what Greg Palast says, because I still believe a lot about what he says is not is everything plausible, but spared for that. There was a population of people, despite all of that we've lived through, that you spoke on, they still vote Republican. Now, I'm going to take a point home. Me and my friend used to joke about people who make dumb decisions. They have brains. They don't have any wrinkles in their brain. They're smooth-brained. They have brains like bowling balls. And at this point, that's what I think about.
Continue,
Yeah,
Ray. Yeah, I'm here. I had to I
yeah.
had to connect Joe.
I was saying, yeah. So, they're very smooth-brained, meaning their brains don't have the wrinkle matter to be able to retain information. And you know what? I don't even blame them. I blame the mothers. I blame the corporations for putting all these poisonous products out, like non-stick cookware and things with these chemicals and stuff. These people are really brain damaged, because ain't no way a person who has the ability to critically think could see and follow what's been going on in history and say, you know what, I want some more of that. And then there's the people that are non-political. I'm gonna leave on that. Non-political people, they just say, you know what, God got all of this. I'm tired of hearing that. What God says, faith without works is dead. If you don't vote, then the world that you want is dead. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Thank you, my brother. Joanne from Los Angeles, talk to me.
Hi, I just wanted to give a experience with Medicare update. My friend, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, my friend just had to fill out 17 pages of forms he never had to fill out, and he has to do it twice a year now, just to renew his regular Medicare. And
Yeah.
his roommate, who is also a senior, his EBT card all of a sudden doesn't work because they changed the code and didn't mail him a new card yet, and so he has like a week to wait and so he can't get his benefits from his, I guess you call it SNAP. And so it's just terrible. I just wanted to share that experience I have.
Well, I mean, thank you for sharing that. Let me just say that is important to note that is how the Republicans intend on reducing their Medicare and Medicaid costs, frustrating people with paperwork so badly that they have to go ahead and say to hell with it, forget about it. I'll just stay sick and die. And I hate to put it that way, but that's where it really is. But thank you for calling both
I
Joe and Ray.
agree. And they,
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
yeah,
Can I speak to that right quick?
Go.
Joe?
Let me let Joe finish.
It
Let me let
reminds
Joe.
me.
Hold on,
Oh
hold on.
yeah.
Let Joe finish. Anything else you want to say, Joe?
well, I agree. And also some people just won't know how to figure it out. That's all.
Thank you, Joe. Come on back in, my brother Ray.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave on this note. When I was growing up, I watched a lot of '80s movies because that was the era I grew up in. But you know what '80s movies showed? They showed the deception and the corruption within our government. Like, look at a movie like an innocent movie like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, if you actually read between the lines, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a political movie because they went through all of that because the judge wanted to tear down Toontown so they could build a freeway, and they went through all of the processes of dismantling the public transportation system. I remember he said, I bought the red car so I could dismantle it. And that's basically the function of the Republican Party. They always get in power so that they could break the government and make people not have any faith in it, and I'm sick of it. Y'all need to do better, Republican voters.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. All right, look, guys, it is important that we understand that, what Ray just said, the last sentence he said is very important to understand. They come into government to break it so that they can get their friends, the private sector, to come in. And we blame the Republicans for a lot of things, but we also have to apply some blame onto the neoliberal Democrats as well. They have to step up. That is why I so respect our new Gen Z congresspersons. Maxwell out of Maxwell Frost out of Maxwell Frost out of Florida. We have Ilhan Omar. Well, Ilhan is a millennial, but we also have our good friend Ocasio Cortez, and we have Kazar out of Austin. We have to prop up these young ones, and with somebody like David Hogg saying, you know what, if we have on non-performing Democrats, what we need now are spineful Democrats, folks that are going to go out there and not do things the old way. Having somebody like Mandani, I think it's so important. Folks that are fearless. I'm there to support. I don't care if they who they are. These young people that are coming up that are fearless are the ones that are gonna go out there and help legislate our way out of this. But everybody has to start putting their bodies on the line. I tell you one thing, 3.5% of us get activated and we get change. And guess what we got with No King's March? 3.5%. The next No King's March is on July 17th, but they did it on a Thursday. I question why they did it on a Thursday. Is it that they're so scared of the volume of people that are going to show up that they put it on a work day? Are some of the neoliberals joining the fold and getting scared for the populace really coming out and demanding and putting the fear of themselves into our government? I think that's starting to make that is a part of it. Remember when Obama had Obama for America, OFA? The first thing they did when he got elected was to dismantle it because they fear the people, but they should fear the people. They should fear you if you decide that they are not providing for you what you have earned, what you've worked for, what you've deserved, what you've voted for. It is so very important. So anyway, folks, I got to get prepared to get out of here. It's 3:59. I'm going to try to get some gym time in today. After I leave here, I'm going to head to the gym. I am sleepy. It will wake me up and lift some weights. Got to try to stay somewhat in shape so that we can continue to do this. I do this 10 times a week plus one for our paid subscribers. I think I am going to do it Sunday. I think we'll do our weekend Ask Egberto on Substack. I think I will do that. When do you guys want it? Let's see. Let me get some folks because a lot of you don't come because of the time date. What time Sunday or what time Saturday? Please populate put that into the chat, both chats. What time? Let me see if I get some sort of consensus. What time of the day do you want us to have for our paid subscribers? For our paid subscribers, what day do you want us to have it? Saturday or Sunday, and what time? Paid subscribers get a Saturday or Sunday where it's just for you. What time, what day? When I decide, I post it in our Substack notes. Let me know the time and date that you want, and I'll promise you that's the time and date we do it. I'll put it into the stack. But anyway, while you guys decide on what time and date, let me ask you guys to please support the program the best you can. Become paid subscribers. How do you become a paid subscriber? 6 p.m. Central. What day? Saturday or Sunday? Saturday or Sunday? What day? Saturday or Sunday? And by the way, folks, how do you support the program? Sunday is best. Okay, we can do it 6 p.m. Sunday. I can always tape 60 minutes. 6 p.m. Sunday, I'll fix it for 6 p.m. Sunday, okay? 6 p.m. Sunday is the show for all our paid subscribers. And we do it on Substack only. I'm wondering if that would bring more paid subscribers in the chat. Maybe. We'll see. All right, folks, how can you become a paid subscriber? Go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Being a paid subscriber is cheap, 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 cheap. And again, we'll do it Sunday at 6 p.m. Central. Here we go again. Sunday at 6 p.m. Central. Become a paid subscriber. This is a program for you, intimate program for you. 6 p.m. Sunday. All right, got to get out of here. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.